What is the difference between mountain gorillas and lowland gorillas? Gorillas are the ultimate physical specimens of the hominid family, mainly because of their immense size and strength. But even their might is struggling to fight off the ever-present threat of humans and their impact on natural environments. Today we're taking a close look at two particular gorilla groupings, lowlanders and mountaineers. How does one tell a mountain gorilla from a lowland one, and are there any real differences at all? Let's find out. Mountain gorillas. First of all, we need to look at gorillas as a whole. We have the two main species, eastern gorilla, gorilla barongi, and western gorilla. The western gorilla is further divided into the western lowland gorilla, and the cross-river gorilla. The eastern gorilla also has two subspecies, eastern lowland gorilla, barongi, grorai, and mountain gorilla, barongi. The mountain subspecies is mainly typified by its, you guessed it, mountain habitat. These gorgeous animals live in Central and East Africa, and their diminished range mainly includes countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and Uganda. In fact, there are only two main wild mountain gorilla populations today. The first population lives within national parks on and around the shared border of the DRC, Rwanda, and Uganda. The other population lives in Uganda's windy, impenetrable forest. These guys are highly protected by law and animal lovers, but still face an uphill battle against extinction. The International Union for Conservation of Nature (IUCN) lists the gorillas as endangered, with an estimated 1,063 individuals left in the wild. As a genus, gorillas first emerged on the scene between 9 and 12 million years ago. Splitting from the common ancestor that sired the human and chimpanzee line, taxonomists like Colin Graves and the IUCN itself were among the major players in their classification. Mountain gorillas, as we know them today, were separated from lowland gorillas roughly 10,000 years ago and from western gorillas for more than 1 million years. So, how does one identify a mountain gorilla? Well, you start by observing the fur. The mountains of tropical Africa can still get insanely chilly, so a fine coat is a key adaptation. Mountain gorillas are considerably fuzzier than their lowland and western kin. They also tend to be smaller than eastern lowland gorillas, but not always. Males can be up to 5.5 feet tall and nearly as wide at the shoulders. Arm span exceeds height considerably, sometimes approaching 9 feet. Weight is between 265 and 420 pounds. Females are considerably smaller and weigh between 154 and 220 pounds. Apart from size, you can identify adult males by their more conical heads and, of course, the silver-gray fur on their backs. Males are also just a touch hairier than females, especially on the arms. They spend most of their time on the ground, but they can climb trees that can bear their weight, especially when they have the incentive of juicy fruit. Like all gorillas, mountaineers are knuckle walkers and therefore largely quadrupedal. They are capable of standing and even sprinting on 2 feet, though they live in some of Africa's most beautiful and lush cloud forests high up in the sky. Typical habitat elevation ranges between 700 and 14,000 feet. The greatest number are found on dormant volcanic mountains like Makino and Karisimbi. The forests are truly untamed. With dense vegetation fit for daily gorilla feasts, the weather is misty, adding another layer of mystery to the apes and their ancient homeland. They are most active during the day, and they spend a big chunk of their waking hours foraging and eating different kinds of vegetation. Their diet mainly features leaves, stems, and shoots, but it will also be supplemented with bark, roots, fruits, and flowers. Adults eat between 30 and 40 pounds of food per day. A typical day in the mountains begins with the gorillas getting up around 6 to 7 a.m. and getting their forage on. They eat till around midday and have a little afternoon chill session before feeding again in the late afternoon. Around sunset, they gather different pieces of vegetation and build sleeping nests. Most nests are on the ground, but some can nest in trees or fallen logs that can support them. Mountain gorillas are highly social and live in different types of groups. The main form of group is the typical silverback-led troop. These groups feature one dominant male gorilla, a harem of females and their young, and perhaps a few subordinate adult males. Other groups are all-male bachelor groups and female groupings without incumbent silverbacks. Gorillas are not strictly territorial, but silverbacks are protective of their troop members and particularly wary of other males. Mountain gorilla groups can have up to 30 members, and membership can be pretty fluid. Females are known to leave and rejoin neighboring troops for various reasons. Dominant troop males can have their tenures cut abruptly by stronger rivals. A typical silverback's reign is just under 5 years, but some strong males can hold out for decades. Silverback versus silverback is often the peak of mountain gorilla violence. These big males can fight to the death with their massive fangs and powerful limbs. That said, most conflicts are resolved with threat displays and size posturing rather than any real physical action. Young males also gradually distance themselves from their birth troop and set off to find new pastures and females. Young females will often leave their birth troops if their fathers are still the dominant male or if their hearts are spirited away by particularly charming outsiders. However, for the most part, mountain gorilla society is quite stable. With a lifespan of 35 to 40 years, these apes know they have plenty of time for politics and squabbles. So with that in mind, they spend most of their time in peace, foraging, grooming each other, playing, and sleeping. Strong males are also key to keeping peace within and outside the group. They play the role of judge during troop disputes, and they are everybody's bodyguard against jungle cats, pythons, and poachers. Communication is also a key part of the social bonds. Mountain gorillas use at least 25 vocalizations, ranging from grunts, barks, hoots, belches, and roars. Vocalizations are used to keep tabs on each other when traveling through the woods, warn of predators, and even to discipline unruly kids. Lowland gorillas. As mentioned earlier, there are actually 2 types of lowland gorilla. There is the western lowland gorilla, which lives in the DRC, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, the Central African Republic, and Angola. Then there is the eastern lowland gorilla, which lives in the eastern DRC, also known as Grauer's gorilla. The eastern lowland gorilla is the largest of the 4 gorilla subspecies and therefore the biggest primate on Earth. Males are between 330 and 460 pounds, while females can be more than 220 pounds. Bipedal height for males can be up to 6.5 feet, which is tall enough to play in the NBA. Eastern lowland gorillas have the broadest elevation range of any gorilla subspecies, ranging from near sea level to heights similar to their mountaineer cousins' home range. Habitats range from dense tropical jungle to moderate woodlands and even swamps. They eat fruits, leaves, and stems as staples, and supplement with bark as well as ants and termites. They are experts at using sticks to harvest their insect snacks. Social dynamics are pretty similar to those of the mountain gorillas, with most troops featuring a dominant silverback male. Other males may be present if they are juveniles or wholly subservient to the top dog. Young silverbacks tend to gravitate away from the core troop between 10 and 12 years old. They roam solo or form bachelor gangs with other males, until they are old enough to start challenging for troops and reproductive rights that come with them. Compared to the mountain subspecies, eastern lowlanders are relatively understudied. This is because of the density and remoteness of their habitats, as well as the decades-long series of wars in the region. Many parts of the eastern DRC wildlands are teeming with dangerous military and paramilitary groups, as well as war refugees in the odd native tribe warrior. Never mind the tripwires and landmines that routinely take out man and gorilla. Oh, and poachers, of course. We can't forget about those pesky poachers. Gorilla meat is like currency deep in the jungle, and farmers can earn life-changing sums by harvesting one that may invade their banana plantations. Naturally, some of these human factors are among the chief reasons the subspecies is critically endangered as of 2021. Fewer than 10,000 individuals remain in the wild. Only one is documented in captivity, a female that lives at Belgium's Antwerp Zoo. The other lowlander, the western gorilla, is the complete opposite of its eastern cousin in many ways. For starts, it is the smallest of all gorilla species. Males average 310 pounds and females are at 200 pounds, though both can get considerably larger in captivity. However, wild ones are often noticeably leaner than other subspecies. Like eastern lowlanders, These guys have fairly short fur that's almost like a buzz cut compared to the shaggier mountain gorilla. Some individuals can be far paler than mountain gorillas, too. In the wild, western lowland gorillas are renowned for traveling several miles in search of good foraging. They love shoots, roots, stems, fruit, bark, and a bunch of vegetables. They will also partake in insects and grubs once in an odd while. Large adults require around 40 pounds of food each day to feel satisfied. This great appetite is also due to the great exertion of covering great distances, sometimes across various habitats, rainforests, swamps, and shrubland from sea level to about 4,000 feet. They obviously favor areas with better food sources, but they generally avoid places with humans and human activity whenever possible. Fortunately for scientists, western gorillas are still highly accessible for study and analysis. There are nearly 1,000 individuals in captivity in zoos and sanctuaries around the world. In the wild, more than 100,000 individuals remain, and conservation efforts continue in the face of poaching and civil unrest in some of their native regions. Time will tell if the lowland gorilla and its cousins can ever live and thrive in peace.